holidays. Is it the time to relax and get your mind off work, or either the time where it's survival of the fittest until your very next paycheck? Welcome back to Soul Quest. Today, we're going to talk about what happens during summer and winter and whether you get paid or not. Welcome back, adventurers. For new viewers out there, my name is Soul Quest. I've been living and working in China for about 6 years so far. As you can see here from my two diminishing crown out here, this is all from all the cortisol level that I experienced in China and from all the stress that I've been through. And I don't want you to go through the same thing. So this is why I want you to like, share, and subscribe. So that way the algorithmic God can recommend you the best video for you. And if you're interested in ESL, living, working in China, or either life in China, or maybe travel videos, niche ones that others haven't yet truly covered, you can click on these 3 buttons because these 3 buttons are the only type of food that my boys and I consume, and we can live another day. And with that out of the way, let's continue on to the video. Now, all right, the quick answer is yes, you still get paid during summer and winter holiday, but it's actually less than what you think it is. And when it comes to summer and winter, you do have to kind of save a bit here and there on your very first 6 months in China, including with the whole student loans that you have in order to survive out here in China. Because when it comes to summer and winter, you don't really have school. But of course, it's a whole different kind of beast when it comes to training center. Now, training center, you're actually gonna have this thing called the Hell Week. Now, this is a term that I made up out of my own ass. Technically, this is where you're gonna have 6 days worth of work, 8 hours per day, or even more than that. And before that, you're actually gonna prepare for those lessons as well. And it's gonna be quite tough for new players out there. But if you'd like to know more about Hell Week and how much money you're gonna probably get during summer and winters, continue on to the video. Now, first of all, when it comes to school, you're gonna have this thing called summer and winter. Back then, it was a fond memory. During summer, I get to chill and relax. Unless if my grades were low, I have to stay in Miss Stanley's class and do some extra work. But luckily, that was only for 1 year on 3rd grade. But as an adult working in China as an ESL teacher, this can actually be a double-edged sword for you. Either you can go travel around Southeast Asia, travel within China, or perhaps be broke because you're only gonna get 10% of your current salary during this time. And it could probably be really harsh for a lot of people, sometimes even more than that, but just enough to get by for your monthly rent for the apartments. And luckily, living in China can actually be quite cheap. So you don't really have to worry too much about food, etc. like that. You do have to save up here and there and not go clubbing every week during your school days. Because during summer and winter, if you do work in a school or either private school, you do have to live off the savings that you have. And that's how the world works. There is a major difference between public school and private school. Now, when it comes to public school, it is a bit longer. Technically for winter, you do have around 1 or 1.5 months, and during summer, 2.5 months, and depending on the school, maybe a little bit longer or a little bit less. But for private school, you do have to come to school a bit earlier than that because they do have to prepare for some other stuff and also some other shenanigan meetings. But for training center, it is a bit different. Actually, from my experience, I only have about 2 week-ish during summer and 5-day-ish during winter. And of course, you can extend that with a PTO. But the thing is, it is quite short. The main reason why is because during these times, these parents need somewhere for the kids to actually stay somewhere and study or either taken care of. And the perfect place to study and actually be babysit at the same time, and that is through a training center. And this is the time where it gets really, really busy. Now, before we continue on to the training center, I wanna rant a bit more about how the school works. Now, pre-vacation, summer or winter, you're gonna actually get a notification from the school that, hey, summer and winter is gonna come up, so get ready for the exams. Now, during this time, you're gonna have a lot of classes canceled depending on how well the school is. Because the thing is, English classes in these type of school is actually an elective. And if the class don't do well, they're gonna actually take another math class or another main English class, which is taught by the real English teacher, which is the local English teacher. And they're gonna have those classes instead. So 1 week, 2 weeks before the whole summer and winter starts, you're gonna have a lot of classes canceled. Another thing you do have to really take into consideration is that although they might say that, for example, July 5th might be the last day of school for this semester, but don't expect it to be July 5th and don't book your ticket in advance just yet. Give it a bit more time to let it breathe. And let's just say you really want to book your ticket, do it 1 week later from what the intended date is, because sometimes it could be way less than that or way more than that. And you want to get into a crossfire with the school saying that you already landed the ticket, you already bought it, and it's going to be a big problem for your next renegotiation contract. And this might actually affect your contract right now. And when it comes to these schools, it's not really their fault, because when it comes to these notifications, it's not up to the school, it's up to the Educational Bureau, because Educational Bureau is the one that makes up most of the schedule for that current district. And for example, let's just say in Fujian, they get off 1 week earlier comparison to Nanshan, not because the school wants to, because the Educational Bureau thinks, hey, you know what, it's all right. So it just depends. So a little bit of a story time here. Mr. already booked his ticket in advance. Not only that, he didn't really take into consideration the whole processing time for his current school and current company, but he didn't take into consideration the time where the school is going to be allowed to go to summer vacation. So he booked his ticket a bit earlier. Now he's really nervous whether the school is going to be canceled or not, but luckily someone helped him out and rearranged his ticket to a later date. Because right now we don't really have the exact date on when summer starts until everybody finishes the test. So it's up to the school or Educational Bureau to actually set out the exact date and time. And you can't really predict it. Sometimes it's earlier, sometimes it's not, but try to keep an eye, try to prepare, and don't mess up. Now, during summer and winter vacation, this is the time where it's the holy grail for a lot of ESL teachers out there. The main reason why we all work in the school is because during summer and winter, you get to travel around Southeast Asia or either do the project that you really want to do and be free of the whole shackles of the work life. And at this time, there is a couple of rules that you need to follow. And that is try to be here approximately 2 weeks before the whole summer or either winter end, or not, things can go awfully wrong. For example, back then, a lot of flights from Bali were canceled. A lot of teachers got in trouble because they couldn't arrive in China on time. And when it comes to this issue, they take it very seriously because they just think it's not really professional, and this could actually affect your contract. Not only that, you do have to take into consideration the PowerPoints and also preparation as well. And one thing I don't like about summer and winter for a new school is that I have to prepare new materials as well. So this is why I really recommend for a lot of people to stay in the same company if possible, if they still give you a good rate. Because the thing is, you do have to take into consideration that you do have to make new materials for your current school. But if you are going to the same school again, teaching the same grade, you can recycle the material, change some things up, change some errors up, make it a bit more interesting, and that is less work for you. But if you're making materials from scratch again, expect it to be a really harsh 3 weeks of your life. But unless you like to do like 1 week at a time, yeah, it could be pretty chill. You're gonna be like 1 hour per week of work to make the PowerPoint for all your grades. But as for me, I like to prepare everything beforehand. Best to prepare for everything because sometimes things can go south. Let's move on to our very last subject, and that is the training center. Now, this right here is what everybody fears the most, and that is the Hell Week. Typically, you have 6 days of full-on work, and some cases, 1 full week of full-on work, and after that, you can start your summer or winter vacation. Typically, the winter and summer vacation is about 1 to 2 weeks, but the positive thing is that your wage is still gonna be the same every month regarding winter or summer. The things when it comes to training center, you don't get a lot of days off. For example, you're getting 20K per month. You're still gonna get 20K the next month during summer and winter. Actually, you're gonna get more through Hell Week. Now, let's move on a bit more about Hell Week. So 1 month before Hell Week, there is this thing called the test week. This is pre-Hell Week. Basically, this is the time where the student actually kind of smash and cram everything so they can do better on their English test. And once that happens, you're already feeling a bit fatigued. But nah, not yet. 1 week later, the manager would probably buy you some hay tea, bubble tea, or some other snacks and get your morale a bit more up. And as a first year, you're thinking like, wow, my manager is so nice. She bought me all this food and sometimes even pizza or croissant from, I don't know, Costco, half price off. But there is a motive to that. If they bring you food or either hay tea or either drink in general, there's always something behind that, and that is the pre-Hell Week. Now, technically, you're gonna have a really big meeting and they're gonna split up the classes. For a lot of first year, this is the time where you're actually gonna be mega exhausted because you're gonna prepare for all the lessons and you're gonna make more PowerPoints, and sometimes you're gonna do double the work than what you already have. Now, typically in a normal mainstream training center, you're gonna have 2 or 3 classes, which is like around 45-minute session, sometimes 4 or 5 classes during weekends. But when it comes to weekdays, you're actually gonna have way less than that. Sometimes only 1 session, 2 session classes, which is 45 minutes each. But during Hell Week, you're gonna have full on 5, 6 classes per day during weekdays and weekend. And at this time, you're gonna have to prepare for all the PowerPoints and all the lesson, and hell, the student's gonna hate being there, and you're also gonna hate being there as well. It's gonna be suffering for both you and the student, so prepare for that. But after that, you get to have your summer break or either winter break. But when it comes to summer and winter break, you only have approximately 2 weeks based off my experience. Some training center gives you more, some training center gives you less. But of course, you can use your PTO, which is about 1 week. But when it comes to this PTO, there is an unfortunate news, and that is seniority. So for example, you have Jake right over here. A made-up name, of course. He has 2 years over you, or maybe like a couple months over you. Therefore, he has the seniority over you. If he picks his PTO right after summer break, you can't do it because someone has to still be in the office. But yeah, that's the way it works. Generally, if you work in a trade center, you technically have 1 month-ish, depending on how much PTO you have. But realistically, for a lot of first year out there, you only have about 1 week, and you can take your PTO another time. But yeah, in conclusion, for schools, you do have about 2 to 3 months during summer and 1 to 2 months during winter. Your pay is gonna be severely cut, around 10 to 30% of your whole wage. You're only gonna get paid basic and housing salary. It depends on each company though. But good news, recently there is some company that offer full wage during winter, which is insane. I guess the market is gonna be a bit higher soon in Shenzhen. But I mean, like, I'm not sure if it's gonna stay forever, but that is good news for a lot of people. I'm not gonna name the company, but if you'd like to comment, know more about it, I'll give you a bit of a hint. But when it comes to these company, winter, you're gonna get paid full, which is insane. This is like something new and revolutionary. But the general gist of it, you do have to save up your money, or not, you're gonna be broke during summer and winter. Take it from me, on my very first year in China, all I have to do is to survive in my very first year and is to eat walaisu. Basically, it's like a discounted McDonald's that is made from China, but hey, still tastes good, keeps my belly full. Although I gained some weight, I still survive. But you don't really have to worry too much because the basic and the housing salary is enough to keep you afloat during summer and winter. It's enough to pay for your rent. The only thing you do have to worry is for your utilities and also for your daily needs, which is food or hygiene, etc., just like that. But if you are working in a training center, you still get paid full even during winter and summer, because technically they don't really have a summer break or a winter break, but just like a mini break. And before that, you're actually gonna have a Hell Week. And if you really calculate the whole thing, it actually counts as nothing, because during Hell Week, you're working double. Actually, the company's making more out of it. But the general gist of it, actually you're making more during winter and summer, just because you're gonna get the summer pay and also winter pay during these times. And this is why in my very first video and very first season in this channel, I actually recommend a lot of first year expat to join training centers, because this is the most stable pay for them, especially if they just get started in China, and you do need a lot of capital to actually start up your life out here. But yeah, that's about it with the whole summer and winter vacation. You can travel all over China, travel all over Southeast Asia, or either find your true self or make some more moolah through training centers. If you have any other question regarding summer and winter, you can comment down below. I'll try to reply to you as soon as possible. Until next time, SoloQuest logging out. Peace.